Hello everyone, a very good morning, good afternoon and good evening to all. Myself Vaibhav. In today's session of automated trading, we will be continuing to work with the indicators named TRIX and LRA, and this is the second part of ongoing series in which we are trying to optimize these indicators combination to make money. Of course, that is always the aim. This is the technical description for the TRIX and the LRA. And before we get started, this is a standard disclaimer. Here I would like to remind you that this session is simply for the tutorial purpose and no claim is being made regarding the profitability or otherwise of the algorithms which we will be developing during this session. Suppose if you want to use any of it, I would recommend that you do extensive trial runs for many months and maybe even years, and also allow it to run on the demo account for good enough time to get an idea of the efficacy of the said algorithm. And of course, nothing in the webinar is to be constructed as an advice to trade or for any particular setup. With that note, we go back on charting to see what we are trying to do in today's session. Yesterday, we have brought in all these indicators, the linear regression angle and the tricks. Trix is basically rate of change of the triple exponential moving average, and then we, for entry purpose, we got these min-max conditions of last 6 hours. So we will be putting the entry point as per the distance between the last tick price when the rest of the conditions get fulfilled, and this minima value will be in play for a buy trade and the maxima value will be in play for a sell trade. So as I had explained to you, the setup is fairly simple. We look for a sell trade when the TRIX value is falling and when the linear regression angle enters into a positive territory and then starts to fall back. So at such point in time, we look for a sell trade, and we are in this session actually going with a fixed stop loss and target level with the ratio of 1:2. So 15 pips will be the stop loss and the target will be 30 pips, and the entry point, the precise entry point, as I said, will be half the distance between the maxima and the last tick price whenever the sell condition is fulfilled. And for a buy trade, the inverse is true. It should be rising. TRIX indicator value should be rising, and then the linear regression angle should be turning the corner in negative territory as and when the value starts to rise in the negative territory for the linear regression angle. We will be looking for a buy opportunity. So let's go on the Visual J Forex platform. Here we have done this setup so far, the instrument subscription. Here we are working with the USD JPY for this session. Then the position amount has been defined at 0. We got these TRIX blocks, two TRIX blocks with shift value 1 and 4 to compare whether the TRIX values are rising or falling. We are utilizing it as a momentum indicator here, and if the momentum is bullish, we will be looking for a buy trade, and if the momentum is bearish, we will be looking for a sell trade. Then the linear regression angles here, 1 2 3, the look back periods, and as I said, the setup is fairly simple. Then we got the min-max conditions for our entry and exit purpose. So let us do some calculations here before we get started for building the buy side. And first things first, we will need the calculation expression. We need to figure out the exact difference between the minima and last tick price after the conditions get fulfilled for a buy trade, and for a sell trade we will need to take into account the maxima and the last tick price. So here we see to it. Now we will need to also make sure that It is ask and the high price. We will take this for maxima, and if it is bid and the low price, we will be taking the minimum value here. For first calculation, let us take the minimum, low price, and we got the minimum value, and then we need last take price, last take bid or tick ask, anything you can take. Maybe tick bid will be better. So what we have to do is we have to deduct last tick price after the condition gets fulfilled. So here we will need to do a2 minus a1, and this will be by difference this. Okay, and then we will need to take into account half of this difference. So now we have to take this and multiply it with a new variable, which will be 0.0. So the execution difference ed, and it will be 0.5. Okay, we save it, and this will be a1 into a2. So this will be the distance which we will need to deduct from last tick price to place the buy order. So it will be by trade pips, by trade difference, we can say. And now let us do the calculation for the buy entry as well. So here we take this and we will need last tick price. So we take bid, and then we will deduct BTD A1 minus A2, and this will be our buy execution price BE. Okay, so that has been done, and since this is going to be pending order, we will need to take into account the order validity time as well, for which we will do the calculation later on. Now we need a trigger point. We have defined the buy entry point, we have defined these conditions, but the thing is, since this will be valid, the conditions will be valid for 1 hour, we need a precise entry point, and for that we will bring in one historical candles and of 1 hour and two historical candles of 10 seconds each, and that will do the job. We will have a precise entry point. After that, we look at component and info, get historical candle. We will need 3. So here now we join the dots. We got the flow. We need to make these 10 seconds each. And this one 1 hour. Now shift 1 and 2. And here we get shift 1. So this will help us in pinpointing the exact entry point where the system will place the order. And since this is going to be a pending open, we will further need the calculation expression. Components and mathematical. And here now for order validity time, I think we should keep it for valid for good enough time, maybe 2-3 hours should be good enough. So let us try testing it for 3 hours. We haven't really kept 3 hours order validity for any setup which we have developed in last 2 to 3 months. So let's try something different this time around. So you can reduce it, just you have to change the value of the variable. So we take on tick, last tick time, and then we create variable, and this is going to be v 3.6 millions. I hope I have got the zeros right. Pardon me. And a new one, tt, which will be defined at 3. And here what we need to do is a1 plus a2 into a3, and then after we get the pending open block, we will put in that result of the calculation, that variable here, as we need to change the type from double to the long. So because of that we are not making any changes right now. Now let us get the if blocks logical. We will need a couple of if blocks here. First thing is we need to compare this for a buy side. First we will start to build a buy side, and the last TRIX value, or the value of last hourly close, should be higher than the TRIX value 4 hours back. Now here we take a block again, and it should be first input greater than second input. We will need multiple action as well, and then we will join it here. Let us take this. We will leave one row empty in case of further optimization. We can easily bring in additional indicators. So here TRIX values are rising, then we need the condition that this LRA value should be in negative territory. So we need to compare line 16, line 17 and line 18 to 0, and it should be below 0. So here we take line 17 and line 18. We make it 0, again 0, and here also again we need to compare it to 0, and it should be below 0. So we will need to do that condition as well. Let us get one more if block straight away, and here is the requirement. Line 16 should be less than 0, line 17 should be less than 0, and then line 18 should be less than 0. Now we need to compare this line 18 which needs to be less than second input. So that means these linear regression values are in negative territory, means some correction has happened though the underlying momentum remains strong. Now is the time to compare these linear regression angle values amongst the three blocks itself. Now we need the turning point. The turning point should be the change of momentum in the linear regression angle, and for that we will need to compare the linear regression angle with value shift 3 and shift 2 and then shift 1 and shift 2. So here the penultimate candle linear regression angle should be less than the linear regression of the candle with the look back period 3. So we take this line 17 and then we take line 18 and we take one more if condition. And this should go for comparing first this line 17, that is LRA with look back period 2, and it should have been less than the line 18, and then last hour's LRA should start to rise, and it is higher than LRA with look back period of 2. So here we take this value first is line 16 and it should be greater so here line 16 and line 17 will be compared. Now we have got so far let us go down a bit and compare these blocks to our setup requirement. So we have defined the TRIX conditions and the LRA conditions. So on a broader time frame, we have been fairly successful to identify this trend and momentums. So here now again we have to go back on chart to see what can be done and what has been left out. Let us make sure we are getting things right. We need one more if block first, as we will need to join the flow for this comparison between LRA 16 and 17. And this line 16 should be greater than line 17. Now again we have to look for next opportunity for us to get involved, and we have already defined the buy entry point, so there is not much discussion there. So we got this calculation done for the buy entry point, and we have also done the calculation for order validity time. Only for the fact that type conversion needs to be done, I have not brought in the this result of the calculation is yet to be defined. Now we need to compare the 10 seconds historical candles, and for that we will need to look. Now I think the battery is also running low and I don't even have power supply right now. So here for the day we wrap up the session here, and then I will be back for tomorrow's session, and then we will try to finish the buy side and if possible also the sell side. So see you tomorrow guys and girls. Have a fabulous day ahead. Goodbye.